And we're live.
Yay! I shouldn't be happy. I'm actually really annoyed. And you're to blame, Justin.
Oh, really? How so? Care to explain?
I wanted to win one game all year. Really, honestly. Like, now I've got, like, playoff hopes and, team's doing well. But going into the year, I was like, I need to do my part to take Justin out of the competition. And I failed. I got too cute with it. Your team also balled out, I don't think.
There's nothing you could have done.
Yeah. Just
even if you had played it perfectly, I don't. Yeah,
I would have lost.
You would have still lost.
Oh, it's frustrating. My team had a fine week too. Like they had a good week, but you had a great week.
Oh yeah. I love it.
Dude,
It's coming.
CeeDee Lamb, was due. Yeah. Ugh.
We knew Jahmyr Gibbs was going to go off.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. I brought it up on the pod last week that Jahmyr Gibbs without Monty was going to just eat. And then...
Boy, did he.
Yeah, he had a huge game. But, I mean, it was over Sunday night. You didn't even need him.
It's true.
Frustrating. I blame Josh Kessler. I don't know. I don't know why I'm blaming
Josh. Why do you blame Josh Kessler?
Because he didn't win Dalton Kincaid. I don't know. It's not enough. I'm just salty. I'm angry. I mean,
those two waiver pickups literally probably changed the course of my season.
Yeah, because you were able to flip Lawrence for Herbert, who had a good game too.
Yeah. Which was kind of like in the back of my head, like kind of the plan. I was like, ooh, if I get... Because I was like thinking... I knew like guy wanted to sell Herbert. So I was like, but I don't have anything to sell him. But I was like, if I get Lawrence, I could just play Lawrence, or I could go get Herbert. He hit me up about Herbert, so I was like, okay, we can make this happen.
Guy. If Guy hadn't made me so rich, I would be more upset. He even came to me and said, "Yo, Justin Kobayashi is trying to buy Herbert," and I was like, "Dude, I don't need a quarterback. I don't want a quarterback. I'm not gonna just buy Herbert to block Justin. Like I can't. I do have to think about the rest of the year. I can't just give up some draft capital. It wouldn't have mattered anyway.
It'd be hilarious. You have some of Guy's best players.
I do.
By you gutting Guy, that'd be hilarious if I get into the playoffs because Guy went down.
It's so... I don't think that's a whole other different thing. Good Lord. It's just frustrating. Guys, don't be like me. Be better. Santos, please! You're against Santos this week, right?
And he doesn't have a quarterback.
Yeah, Goff's actually been okay for fantasy. Please, for the love of goodness, Santos. Please. Ugh. Anyway, on to the rankings. Speaking of, Santos, you're at 12. Guys at 11, that's our matchups. You and I now play the back-to-back doo-doo of the league. I made his team worse this week. And I don't even want to talk to you about. Do we? Can we talk about Guy?
I want to ask you the question.
Yeah.
Given where, let's go before he's made all these deals.
Yeah, so he's got
your take on Guy deciding to sell at the time he was 4-3 at the top of the division. Your take, given where the team was at. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but
it's insane. Okay, look, listen. As a prime benefit factor of Guy selling, I still think it's crazy. I don't understand it. He had a roster that clearly had talent because we devoured it. It's not like when Santos sold, it was sold Josh Allen, and then he was able to swim to you for a 6 for Devontae Smith. But there was no power pieces. It wasn't like he was giving the league a plethora of wealth. Thank you. But Guy had legit pieces that I think were the backbone. And if you want to, if you want to sell an underperforming one, but I would have been buying. Like at 4-3 and having the crux of a good team, maybe missing some juice or something, I would be buying to fix the roster. And Guy went the other way and said, I'm just out. Like, get me out. And not even like Sam, I've hit up all year about trading, and Sam was like, I'm not buying, but I'm not selling yet. I just want to see how the team plays and make a decision. And Guy was like, no, get me out. I want out, get me out. And I don't understand it. He saw all of his players as nosediving. I don't see them that way. I don't think most of the league sees. Like, do you see? Not Chase, but like Bijan still has all the potential in the world. Javonte Williams showed why he's like this. Javonte Williams we got last week was the Javonte Williams that I think Guy thought he was drafting, and he's there. Broncos are going to keep using him like that. Herbert's fine. Herbert was fine. Even with, he had a plus matchup, but still, Ingram's been a fine tight end. Like, I don't get it. But to each his own, and to each his not own, I guess. They're all gone. Like, Deontay Johnson came back, he had 14 targets. Like, this team was not in a bad way.
No.
Deebo Samuel was a luxury. Yeah, I don't. Dude, he's playing Will Levis. Let's go. Yes. Oh, I saw he spent all the fab, and I was like, please put him in. Please put him in. Please put him in. Tomlin's gonna eat him. Actually, hold on. Actually, never mind. I'm scared. Guy, if you're listening, please put Love back. Don't leave Levis in the lineup. Take him out. Oh man, I don't get it. I mean, tell me. Am I crazy? I don't.
No, I don't. I know me and Josh and you were texting about like I was saying like, oh, I've been saying for a while like Guy's team's not that good, and he was my candidate for like biggest second half disappointment. But I think I also said last week that there was so much capital I could work with to like make it into a good team. So, and he was 4-3. Like he was leading the division. So I'm over here like 2-4, 3-5 buying, trying to. So it doesn't quite make sense to me. But teach his own.
I don't get it. Like you said, we were texting, and he makes the Bijan deal, and we all kind of were like, huh? And I was like, well, maybe he doesn't believe that Bijan's ever going to be the guy. Maybe he thinks Stevenson has kind of some upside, get a draft pick. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I get it. That kind of makes sense. Selling potential, for draft capital, whatever, but still being very competitive. And then the Myers deal went through, and I was like, hold on a second.
Okay.
And you just sent the text chat. He's selling. Yeah. Said, no, Guy's just selling. And I immediately, as soon as I saw that text, I kid you not, I went, all right, here we go. Open the chart book. And yeah.
Still get his best asset.
Okay, I was actually able to speak to Guy on the phone for 20 minutes yesterday, which was very nice, after all of our deals, which is very lovely. We talked a lot of fantasy football. He just had a second grandchild. Congrats, Jim and Lauren. Congrats. Literally born yesterday. And I told Guy, I said, I had to have Chase for several reasons. I said, one, I was trying to beat Justin this week. Obviously, I didn't pan out, but I was like trying to juice my team as much as I could.
Really?
Which is really why, dude, you have no idea, Justin. I tried to trade hard for Barkley and or JT. I got Chase. I was doing my best to like load the roster. I thought Stroud was going to pop off, and I don't know why he attempted the least amount of attempts in his career so far. That was a very weird game, the Carolina game. But I was all in on the Stroud breakout. That's why I sent Tua then. I was like, I'm going big. I'm going huge. I'm going to try my best. And I had a fine game, but I was doing my best to beat you. You can ask Sam. Here, I'll read you a text I sent Sam because I was trying to get one of his running backs hard, and he was like, "Dude, I just want to see my guys play. And I was like, I need to beat Justin. I said, let's see. I said I sent him this deal, which obviously now I can't even do. I will give you Hubbard, a first, a third, and a 14th for Barkley, a second, a 7th, and 11th. Like, big time. Give me that running back. And I was literally like, my desire. I said, come on, dude. There's a deal for you. My desire to crush Justin's hopes of a three-peat is fueling my poor decision making. I said, same deal for JT if you prefer.
Oh wow! I mean, I knew you wanted to beat me, but I didn't know you were.
I was going all out.
I mean, I figured you're just trying to improve your team. Like my move was like for Herbert. Like I wasn't even trying to like match your arms race. I was just like, this is a good deal for me.
No, it made sense for you. That's why I couldn't. Like when he was like, "It's for Justin," I was like, oh, I can't. Like I want to beat Justin, but I can't just get a quarterback just to block him. Like I can't do that. I need to be smart. And so yeah, I mean it was a good move for you. So there was the first reason. The second reason was I couldn't let Kestner have him. Like Kestner's a good receiver away from being like unbeatable.
Yeah.
And so I was like, if he's like fully aware that he's for sale, I need to get him now. Like I need to go buy him right now to make sure that Kestner can't have him. And then also I knew I was playing Guy this week. So it's like the only thing that kind of scares me is Chase. So this is like a perfect player to go buy.
Yeah.
It hit all of the things I needed. But yeah, as soon as you said no, he's selling, I was like, then I am buying.
Yeah.
So
I don't
get
in hindsight, it might be good that you let me win because if I would have lost to you, Kestner was getting one of my receivers. We had already been talking, but now that obviously I've won,
okay, good.
All my receivers are staying put.
That's huge. And let's move on here. I think we talked enough about Guy. Bryn is at 10. I don't have too much to talk about. His team performed 1 this week. He's gonna get Kyron back soon. Bryn can come back up the rankings, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I don't think we need to talk about too much. Hopkins on the bench looks like life with Levis. The roster's still gonna perform, boys. Okay, don't doubt the process. Bryn, get on the show. I want to hear you rant. Seriously,
you're one game out of a playoff spot.
He's not. He's in a good position, and we've been dogging on Bryn. We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be dogging on him. But Bryn's at 10.
You could knock Kestner out of the playoffs. Like,
dude, that would be so amazing. That would be the greatest thing on earth. He's getting when Kyron comes back, this roster's legit.
Oh yeah.
Because Kyron's going to be the guy again. I do not think there's going to be any kind of split. I think Kyron will just be the guy.
I don't know about that, but he's going to be the majority share.
Yeah, he'll be super valuable.
Yeah,
he'll be super valuable. And Jacobs, I think, gets a huge plus with O'Connell coming in for Vegas. Jacobs had 11 targets when O'Connell was under center.
It's true.
11. Like, Mongo numbers. The man was smart and wanted to check it down. So I think Bryn is going to come back up on the rankings real quick. But he's at 10. But let's talk Sam. Unless you have anything else to say about Bryn. But I want to talk about Sam. Okay, so let's talk Sam. Because Sam held to his guns, didn't sell. And I'm so glad he didn't sell any one because he won't sell now. So none of you guys can have his players. I had Jacob over on Monday, and I was like, the best thing about this week was Sam won. And Jacob's like, dude, he beat me. And I was like, I'm sorry, Jacob.
Hey.
Yeah, he's so great. I said, I'm sorry, Jacob, but he won. He won't sell now, and the league can be safe from those running backs and those receivers hitting the market. Because he's going to compete, which is really good. And this is what I thought Guy should have done. At the very least, was just hold pat and see what would happen, especially with a winning record. But Sam's got a losing record and said, I'm not quitting. And he could be a candidate to go try to buy somebody, maybe. Because the roster's very good.
Yeah. I mean, this like we said last week, this is the first time we got to see the roster as constructed out of the draft. And the roster put up 123, pretty much. with points on the bench.
Yeah,
So, like,
surprising points
Rachaad
on the bench
White,
still.
pretty
Yeah,
good. Jackson Smith-Njigba, pretty good. Taysom Hill, maybe not, will continue to be good, but still put up 22 points on the bench. So, yeah, there's and Sam Laporta, outside of Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews, is
so good.
I probably would have Laporta over Hawkinson going rest of the season. That is a massive advantage. And yeah, I mean, the team is great.
Yeah,
123 points. So, and T. Higgins has done not a
I was
whole
gonna
lot so
say,
far.
I was literally about to say, imagine if T. Higgins caught a touchdown. um, yeah, I think Sam rightfully has stuck to his guns, and hopefully he can squeak into the bottom end of the playoffs here, and then
Oh
he
yeah,
will threaten. Like he will be a threat. It's crazy how our records have come out. I mean, right now Kessler's out of the playoffs
yeah.
as it stands right now.
That's probably not. I mean, because we know history says top two teams from each division are going to go, unless one division is just going crazy win wise with three guys. But that isn't the case. So history, my guess is it's going to be two teams from each division. So realistically for Sam, we know Guy has sold. So there's a playoff spot open in our division. Hopefully it's me, but it could also be Sam.
Yeah, you guys are both 3-5. That's gonna be a close one. That's gonna be fun to watch. And Ken looks really good, but we'll talk about him in a minute. Mark's at 8, and let's talk about your deal with Mark real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, Justin traded away Tyler Lockett and Nico Collins, received Devontae Adams and TK Metcalf. On the onset, like pre-draft, we would have been like, "Whoa, Justin with the fleece." But 8 weeks in, it's like, okay, this seems pretty even. Tell me how this went down, your thought process, why you made this deal.
Yeah, so I've just, I'm looking for ways to improve my team. And like to me, like initially I like latched on to Mark because I was like, I think DK Metcalf is the biggest buy right now. Like buy low. Because DK Metcalf just coming out with 14, like he's been great. He just hasn't caught a lot of touchdowns. So if he starts catching touchdowns, he's gonna be pretty good. So and I kind of was like, Tyler Lockett, like I would much rather have DK Metcalf than Tyler Lockett. But then I saw Devontae Adams is on the team, and I was like, ooh, yeah, maybe that's a pretty good buy low opportunity there because he just put up 1.6, like, and it's Devontae, like he's obviously his talent is well known. And then then we heard, the Raiders coaches got fired, and then they announced that Aiden O'Connell was going to be their starting QB. I'm super high on Aiden O'Connell. I love his talent. I think he's going to be pretty good. And in his one game with Devontae Adams got 13 targets, his second most on the year. So I was like, okay, I am in. So then I was like, oh, well, what do I mean, I can give up Tyler Lockett. Like Cooper Kupp, he's not going to go for it. Like Cooper Kupp's kind of he doesn't have a whole, like he's had name value, but hasn't been doing well. And I'm not getting up CeeDee Lamb. So then I was like, well,
Yeah,
what
giving
if
him CeeDee Lamb doesn't make your team better.
Yeah, exactly. So
Right.
then I was like, well, I don't want to give up. I started thinking about Nico Collins, and I like kind of did like a deep dive on him, and I was like, I'm not as high on Nico Collins as I thought I was. Like outside of 2 games, like he hasn't really. He's been like 2 games he blew up, and then the other games he's like less than 10 points. So I'm like, and then like just watching that Carolina, having watched a full game of the Houston Texans offense, I was like, it's okay. I mean, I'm not like super into it, and so I was like, you know what? I think I'm okay giving him up, and I'm willing to be wrong. And like this could be like if Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf come back and be the guys we think they are, this could be like could send my team over the top. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do. So, and Mark went for it. So,
Well, hopefully we'll hear from Mark, hear his side. It definitely, from the outsider looking in, it kind of just looks like two good receivers from both teams that both teams aren't happy with. Like on the whole, like I'm not really happy with
Yeah.
all this production, but maybe your guys are better. And
Yeah, we're just looking for some change in
yeah,
scenery. So let's just swap,
that's how it seems for
But
sure.
it was like for sure like the carrot I think that got it over the top for Mark is that Nico Collins can be kept in the 10th. And if he doesn't make playoffs, he can be kept in the 11th if he takes the keeper bonus. So I think that's what got it over the top.
That's crazy.
Which is great value, assuming that Nico
continues to be the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So a really interesting trade. We already talked about you picked up Herbert, which was a good move for you. While Fields gets back, he'll be definitely consistent. But yeah, Mark is sitting at 8, and he picked up another quarterback. Sam Howell is the starting quarterback for Digging in the Pits. And not a lot to dislike about this team. I guess the depth, I suppose, is not good, but the starting roster is fine. Edwards, Howell, Collins, Diggs, Pitts is fine. Flowers. He just needs to. I mean, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I would do about this team. Like,
I think Mark's doing what I would just like stay the course. I wouldn't buy or sell because that division is rough.
Yeah, the All Madden division is very difficult. Josh, Jacob, Noah, and Josh. Sorry, and Josh, and Jacob and Josh. And Josh is in that division too. If I didn't mention him. Yeah, no, it's tough. And you brought it up earlier. 2 teams making out of the playoffs. All 4 of these teams could make the playoffs.
Yes, you can easily build a case that all of them could.
Yeah, even though it's impossible, or it's possible actually, but not possible. Like theoretically, you could have 4 and then 1-1, but it'll never happen. But maybe one day.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Ken's at 7. These middle teams are really tightly packed. What don't you like about Ken as opposed to like a Mark or a Noah?
Well, I don't love his receivers. Like I know they did well last week, but I don't think Keenan Allen, like he's cooled off. McLaurin is okay.
McLaurin's heating up, in my opinion.
But the Commanders' schedule is not is tough going forward. It's New England, it's Seattle, it's the Giants who've been playing better, it's Dallas.
Well. Yeah.
Then you get Miami, which is better, but then the Rams, Jets, and San Francisco, and then Dallas again. So I don't love that schedule. I'm kind of just out on the Commanders' offense in general. And then I haven't liked Godwin, and he got a touchdown, yay! But I'm just not in. He's okay. So the receivers are nothing special. But I mean Tua's an upgrade, I guess. There's just a lot of meh. Outside of McCaffrey, it's just a lot of meh. So
yeah, Mixon has been fine. Like you said, McLaurin's been fine. Allen's been fine. Godwin's been fine. When you have that crazy superstar in McCaffrey, I think that you can look at a nice ceiling game, but just not to get very excited about. But I mean, he's top of his division, probably gonna make playoffs, especially after the guy. What there's a term I'm looking for, sepulchre or whatever. Nuking himself. I mean, yeah, points for he's doing pretty good too. Or he's near the top of the pack, the top half. Again, similar to Mark and a lot of these teams, actually, I don't know what I do to change them. The starting roster's good.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough depth unless you want to just straight up sell draft capital to buy better players. There's not enough package depth to go upgrade without leaving yourself very vulnerable. And guys in that position, or Ken is in that position, where it's in order to upgrade some of these players, he would have to make himself weak in others, and it just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
You're at 6. Your team, I think, is better than 3-5, but you are 3-5, which makes you a playoff risk. But I
Yep.
just got nuked by freaking CeeDee Lamb, so that can happen. What's your outlook on Montgomery and Gibbs when they come back?
Well, I know that they're both going to be startable when they get back because both Gibbs was scoring no less than 7 points, which isn't like amazing, but
It's fine. Yeah.
he was getting enough touches, and he's going to get more. Like there's no way he doesn't get more. And then Montgomery was great, so I think they're going to both be usable, and I probably will only play one. I'll just kind of see how it just so happens that the week that they're both going to be coming back from bye, I'm probably going to have to play both because that's like my next big bye week, my last big bye week. So whichever one comes out ahead, I'm just going to play that one guy, and chances are one of these guys is going to get hurt again because they can't stay healthy. In which case, it's going to be wheels up.
You're hoping that one, but just one, gets hurt, and in a way that maybe they come back. That's hilarious. What about Ford and Hunt? I see you're playing Hunt. Are you sold on him being the leader now? Or do you think Ford's going to get worked back in as he gets healthier?
I don't know. I think Hunt's the leader right now. He's getting all the goal line carries, so he's the one
That's big.
who's going to be starting. And he's also healthier. And I'm not than Ford. So I mean, really, the whole reason I made a trade to get this backfield was the whole reason was really for this week and for next week when my buys are happening. So that's literally the only reason I made the trade. It was like I need wins, and I have both of my backfields going on bye these next 2 weeks. So, and their playoff schedule is amazing. So if
The Browns' playoff schedule is incredible.
So if, one guy starts becoming, if one of the guys gets hurt and one guy becomes the main dude during the playoffs, it will be outstanding.
Chicago, Houston, Jets is the playoff schedule. Yummy, yummy.
Yummy, yummy.
Yeah, I think that, so again, like these middle six, like I said, are very tough. Your running back situation, I mean, the Lions running backs are the same thing as the Rams receivers, where I think you're going to get frustrated. Like, you might find yourself playing the wrong one or having to play both, but it kind of limits your upside. Because I don't think both Montgomery and Gibbs will have 20-plus points games. But one could, for sure.
It's probably going to be Gibbs. Like,
I like his upside in the passing game a lot more.
Yeah,
but Montgomery's getting done.
He's getting the second most targets of all running backs over, average per game. He's going to get more touches. He already has a solid floor while Montgomery was like getting everything.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be him. I might not play it completely correctly, but I think I'm okay with that because the rest of the team has gotten a lot better where I don't before I got Dalton Kincaid and upgrade the quarterback position and got all these wide receivers, like I needed them to go off each week. I don't need them to go off each week now because I think the entire roster can go off at each position has a ceiling that can carry me. So
yeah, and speaking of Kincaid, I know it's only been 1 week, but I think he's an auto play the rest of the season. I think you agree, obviously.
Yep.
It's gonna be delicious. The tight end in the Bills room, in the Bills locker room. Go get the tight end. All right, moving on. Noah's at 5. We both have him evenly ranked here. Disastrous news with Kirk Cousins getting hurt, but Josh Dobbs kind of lightens the blow slightly. Obviously not as good, but I think he's at least comparable. Will keep drives alive. I do think Dobbs helps Hawkinson more than anything because Dobbs just loved his tight end. But that also might be scheming. And with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison on the outside, it would be much easier to throw to them than just Marquise Brown. But, Noah gets Kessler this week. He got lucky that guy sold last week, so he was able to pick up a dub. Was that last? Yeah, that was last week, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. or 2 weeks ago. But anyway, regardless, the fact remains. He gets Kessler this week. He gets me next week. He gets Josh the following week. He gets
Well, he
Josh
gets the
again.
division,
No,
after
he gets all the division play. Yikes! So it's gonna be rough sledding for Noah. He gets Santos in 2 weeks, so that's actually nice. And then then he gets the division. But hopefully his guys are coming back around, and Josh Allen will keep him competitive every week. What's your outlook on Noah? Do you think he's we're both kind of in the middle of the pack?
Yeah, things are looking bleaker just because the entirety of his division is hot right now. Well, apart from Mark. Mark's not necessarily hot, but like he's still good.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
He does get Kessner with ETN on bye though. I didn't realize.
But Kessler's team is so deep. It's like, well,
play Bijan, play Walker.
no, it's Bijan Robinson, Austin Eckler, Ken Walker. Like, who cares? Like, yeah, so realistically, he's got another win in the bag, Santos. So he needs to win 2 out of facing Kessner, you, Josh, Jacob, Mark. That's going to be not easy.
Kessner doesn't have Amon-Ra either.
That's true. So his wide receivers are definitely suspect.
Yeah.
So this game is so interesting because Kessner's not exactly.
Dude, Kessner could be 4-5 right
That would
after
be
this
crazy.
week. Oh, Noah, come on, buddy. Come on, Noah. Oh, this would be incredible.
Yeah, I think like it's every win. He just needs 2 from his non-Santos matchups, which is not going to be easy.
No. And I'm going to say it right now, as much as I really hope he beats Kessler this week. Noah's team smells like one and done in the playoffs.
If he makes it there.
If he makes it, I kind of get this stinky vibe that the dream doesn't come together. I don't know what to make of HM when he comes back with Jeff Wilson there as well. I kind of feel like he's not going to get as much work. I know he's explosive and efficient, but at the same time, I know with his injury history, they might not even want to play him that much. Try to get that 2 or 3 big plays out of him and get him off the field, which won't be as good as for fantasy. It might still be playable. Dameon Pierce is a disaster. And yeah, Justin Jefferson with Josh Dobbs is not as scary as Justin Jefferson with Kirk Cousins at all. So yeah, rough sledding for Noah, but still sticking in at 5, second best record in the league. Number 3 in scoring, 2 in scoring, 3 in scoring. So a lot to like. Noah, come at us. Hop on the pod, tell us where we're wrong. But you're not here, so you're at 5. Moving to 4. It's the man with a plan. It's Jacob. And Jacob, like I said, I had the pleasure of having Jacob and his family over Monday. It was very nice. And Jacob is most frustrated with which player on his roster, Justin?
I'm going to say Tony Pollard.
It's Tony Pollard. Jacob was like, do I keep playing Tony Pollard? And I said, I think you have to, but
you don't have any choice.
I get it. It's rough sledding out there. What is up with Tony Pollard? Do we know?
Yeah, we do. CeeDee Lamb is very good at football. And he's much better at football. He's better than Tony Pollard at football. That's the reason.
It's true.
The truth.
It is true. Jordan Addison takes a hit from the injury, but this team is very good otherwise. Kelsey, Thielen's been fine. Lamar Jackson always boom. Hubbard took all the snaps. He should have a much better game this week against Indianapolis. Has the backup and Henderson on the bench. Jacobs is doing a good job. I think the biggest sadness here is Puka. If Stafford doesn't play, I don't think Puka's viable.
Yeah, I think this team is taking a hit, and honestly, I'm kind of thinking about it. He probably should be lower in my rankings just because the Cousins injury, the Stafford injury. I mean, it doesn't seem like we haven't gotten any news on Stafford's being bad, but we haven't gotten any news saying it's going to be okay either. But if both of those injuries, if Stafford is forced to miss some time, and like to me, Addison's going to really drop. Like, I don't think just Jefferson is going to be as bad once he gets back, but like
Sure.
Addison, like, is going to be bad. And that's big because Addison and Puka were obviously very big for this team. They were a big part of this wide receiver core. If Addison and Puka aren't, functioning, are more like wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2 level, there's now, versus he was getting wide receiver 1 play essentially out of Puka, and Jordan Addison was wide receiver 1 play as well. Like that, this wide receiver core doesn't look as good. And then the Tony Pollard struggles are going to become very burdensome on this team. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to highlight he picked up Josh Dobbs. Jacob, you're so silly.
Nice.
He's a Vikings fan. Go get him, buddy.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
get him.
Let's go.
I do want to highlight as well the hot and cold nature of Lamar Jackson and the hot and cold nature of this squad. Jacob was tied for point scorer heading in the last week, but is still 4-4, and it's literally because he has that huge game, and then he has the not huge game that plagued you, Justin, when you originally set that massive league scoring record way back in the day, and you missed playoffs. And I would hate for this roster to do that, especially after the year of selling and building. And I think Jacobs is doing a phenomenal job with what he's had. Just very unfortunate turn of events here.
Mm-hmm.
And also, by the way, you can't play Madison or Akers. Been saying it for weeks. They're here on the bench, doing nothing.
I got out of there right in time.
I mean, I think it was the right move for Jacob because Puka was such a huge addition.
Oh, yeah,
but
for sure.
Getting into the Vikings.
It was a win-win, but man, I'd been trying to move Madison the entire season.
Yeah, pain. All right, moving on to 3. It's the Tank Doctor. Now you might be saying, "Yo, Josh is at 3. He's 3-5, right? Wait, he's 4-4.
4-4.
Uh-oh. Josh is 4-4.
That's
Josh has something that no one else in the league has. AJ freaking Brown. The man is good for 130 every week. It's insane. He's a menace. He's a disaster. He's ruining people's lives. And he's on Josh's team. Oh, yeah. He's also got Mostert and Hurts and Hall and Kittle's come alive, although he's on bye. And Najee is in the lineup? Wait, hold on a second. What is that? Oh, okay. We've got buys. Okay, all right. But still, Josh did a really good job. This is all drafted as well. I don't think he's made a single trade. And this is the team,
he made a trade with you.
Oh, yeah. No, play the other one. It was good for me. It got me Tyreek Hill. But yeah, he's been managing very well. His division is all sorts of competitive, and this is the team other than Kestner that I am most terrified of. It's Josh right here, and I can't really find anything bad to talk about. Can you?
I mean, we've talked about how like Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, both on the team.
Yeah.
That's.
And Olave hasn't really been hitting.
Yeah, Olave, like to me, like I thought about like maybe 30. Trying to buy low, but I didn't. I didn't know how far. I couldn't think of a narrative to sell to Josh that was going to be like enticing to him because he doesn't really have any holes.
Right.
And the one hole, like to me, like tight end is kind of a hole, but like I can't give him Dalton Kincaid. Like,
yeah, it doesn't make your team better.
So I was like, I didn't make him an offer because I was like, I can't come up with a narrative that works. But to me, like Olave is a buy low. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of holes on this team, and if AJ Brown keeps doing what he's doing, I don't know if this team is gonna lose.
Oh,
Because
really
when
can't
AJ
wait.
Brown does what he does, it also means Hurts is
Popping
going off. So
Yeah, I can't wait for Brain to score 120 and lose again this week.
because AJ Brown goes Mongo again.
Yeah. AJ Brown says, Dallas, who? I will get my 130, thank you. He's a monster. He's incredible. There's like only one or two receivers that I even consider. I'm not saying I would have them over him, just consider it.
Oh man, that's gonna be a good game. Dallas, Philly.
Yeah,
Oof.
it should be a phenomenal game to watch in real life. Real quick too, by the way, I just want to side note I forgot to mention. Jacob is playing Ken, and Ken doesn't have CMC, so he could steal a win right there. Just noticing with the buys, I was like, wait a second, the Niners are on bye. But Josh, good job, buddy. Keep going, and if you guys stick around post pod, you might hear a little something from our resident tank doctor. We'll talk more about him later. Kessler's at 2, and really, it's just because he's 4-4, right? Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Or maybe another team is actually threatening his depth. Maybe.
That is a possibility.
Maybe. But regardless, this team's nuts. I wouldn't worry about Mahomes' flu game. Eckler's a stud.
He's got a nice bounce back with Miami up next on the docket.
That's okay. Talking about good football, that should be a good football game too. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to curb stomp the Dolphins. I think it's going to be a shootout.
I don't know. Kansas City's defense is quietly like the best in the league.
They're good, but I still think that I think Mike McDaniel has been working on this game all year. I really do. I truly believe that. And so I think it's going to be a spicy one over in Germany.
Oh yeah,
which is really cool in Germany. Berlin, I believe. But yeah, dude, the man has Travis Etienne on the bench because he's on bye, and you wouldn't have noticed. Like, if you look at the roster, it's Eckler, Robinson, Walker. Like, that's fantastic. That's great. Oh, RB2's on the bench because he's on bye. That's okay. Whatever. Amon-Ra, St. Brown as well. The receivers, I think, are the big issue here on this team.
Yep.
Especially with Aiden O'Connell coming in for Raiders. Guy sold at the right time. I think it destroys any value Jacoby Myers had. And Love in Green Bay has shown us that he can't do it, and Watson is struggling because of it. I mean, he has to play them this week, but like, I think that's the only complaint I have by the roster is, and Goddard's fine. Goddard is a fine tight end.
Yeah, I'm a little worried that, like, tough matchup. Like, there's no, what is his schedule coming up? Noah, Ken, Sam, Bryn. He does get one with Santos. Yeah, it's being 4-4. Like, you're just given the talent on the roster, you're just in danger of things just not breaking your way. I'm just a little worried that things could not go his way, and like I think the wide receiver core like has been begging to be upgraded. Same with tight end for a while now. I'm worried that now we're at the trade deadline. Like he can't do, and like to me the trade market is pretty. I don't see a whole lot of movement happening because there are so many teams that are competitive. So, there are some worries here because this team kind of has a frightening floor. We scored 88 last week, 79 in week 4, 95 in week 2. Like, yeah, it's just given how good the team is, like it would just be a real shame if this team doesn't make playoffs, and that's a real possibility at this point.
That would be great. What are you saying? It would be a real shame. That'd be fantastic.
I'm trying to empathize here, and
He's in my division. Give me another week on another game advantage, and then I'll be more comfortable. I don't want to play this team in playoffs.
No.
You don't want to play this team in playoffs.
No.
It's very good, and you're correct. It would be a shame. It would be a bummer. I am very concerned as to why a receiver upgrade hasn't happened. I don't understand, but
I understand the thinking. Like running backs do Like they don't grow on trees.
Sure.
I understand that thinking. I respectfully very much disagree with that thinking, but
Well, like, okay, so there are other ways to acquire a solid wide receiver than selling one of these running backs. Like you don't have. I guess maybe for team, I know maybe with receivers he would be after, but they're like I just bought mine.
it's true.
You know what I mean? Like I didn't. There and yes, Jamar. There are no other Jamar Chases hanging out there, but it doesn't have to be a top 3 receiver. Like it just has to be a
True.
good wide receiver too. Like someone who's going to be solid. And so yeah, it's confusing. It's very confusing. Or like to package like you don't need top 4 of the top 10 running backs. Like they're not all going to play for you. Like if you traded a top 10 running back and one of to go get a receiver plus a running back who's fine, because the whole point is like depth, right? Like okay, if 3 dudes go down, yeah, then that guy comes in. But like right now, he's just going to sit on your bench and do nothing.
Yeah.
He's not helping you. So if you could go get a receiver and a running back, and the running back for depth, that is fine, But a receiver who can help you right now, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I don't understand the lack of movement because I don't think Watson and Myers are playables, and Ridley is such a coin flip.
Yep.
Like 20, 4, 5, 10, 17, 4, 1, 11 on 10 targets this last week. It's not going to win a championship like that, in my opinion. All right. Kessner, we'll find a way. Trade deadline is Monday. I'm assuming we're going to see a couple more. Maybe not just with Kessner, but a couple more deals.
Yeah,
happen.
I'm sure there will come, but I don't see any like bongo like.
Yeah, the teams that have the big players that have moved, those movements have been made.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's like big player for big player. Like
it's true.
That could happen. All right, moving on to it's just one left. And Justin, I've been waiting 2 weeks to hear your thoughts after beating me. Very well done. Your team showed up.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. I'm not thanking you. The league isn't thanking you. The league is upset, right? Tell me, people. But I think last year I had a good team. This year I think is the best team I've ever managed.
I know your team last year went at the height of its power was probably the greatest team I've ever seen. And
the depth was 0.
The depth
like
was,
when it got hurt, they collapsed.
It's true. It's probably the greatest starting lineup I've ever seen. I think this team is probably more top to bottom deep. So it's probably it probably is a better overall team than last year. So which would probably make it your best team ever. So
I think so.
Yeah, it's very good. Running backs are good. This is your first team. I feel like that's like the strength of the team is wide receiver. So you finally came around.
I knew you'd like it. That's why I've been waiting. This is a Justin team. This is a team that screams Justin Kobayashi.
Well, really, it's me and Noah. Me and Noah have been pounding that drum for a while. That wide receivers are more valuable than running backs. Whatever. I'm not going to go on that train. But yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase and Tyreek Hill. There's the 2 best receivers. To me, like rest of the season, it's probably. I mean, I don't. Yeah, you could say AJ Brown.
AJ Brown is in the.
Those are the top 3, like tier 1.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, in whatever order you want.
Yes.
So that's great. Trey McBride, I think, is going to be great at tight end, and you have Darren Waller there, so that's great. Running backs are good, and when you have wide receivers that good, they don't need to be great. Quarterback, Kyler Murray coming back, hopefully. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a wild card because you just don't know how healthy / he hasn't played football in a long time. So
yeah, there was when I sold Tua, there was a hesitation of like this is me saying I'm in on Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Like holding Tua would have been let Murray get healthy. I am not out on Stroud either. Like I said, I know he had a bad game. But with the strength of the roster, I just need my quarterback not to dud, and I don't think Stroud will. Stroud's
Yeah, he probably won't. I mean, that last week was a dud in 12.
Yeah, 12, right. And I do think Murray comes back and plays very, very well. But worst case, like I thought Tua might lay a turd against New England because he did last time, and I wanted to pick up the depth in Connor. I knew I could get that deal done, and I got capital back too. And I do believe that I can stream. Like worst case, let's say Stroud's not giving me top end, and let's say Murray's not. It doesn't pan out.
Murray's going to get you. Murray's going to be probably better than a streamer, even if he's not as good.
Right, but the idea was like if for some reason Murray, like let's say Murray gets hurt again or something, like something disastrous occurs.
Mm-hmm.
That's a position I feel like I'll just find the stream because the rest of the roster is so good. I don't need my quarterback to win me the week.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Murray very capably could if he's back at full strength, and this offense looks very capable. Like if we get Murray's ability and talent in place of Dobbs with how this roster is being run, like I'm very in on that.
Mm-hmm. Well, very clearly you have 1, 2, 3, 4 Arizona Cardinals.
Too many. I was telling Kester this week. I was like, he said you have 4 Cardinals. I was like, it was an accident. Like individually, they're all good. I have the number
you don't
one
have
receiver.
to play them all, so it's not a big deal.
In a perfect world, I'm not playing them all. Hopefully, I just
they're
have
all
to play
depth
McBride.
pieces. Like they're not
exactly.
I mean, even Trey McBride is like, in my opinion, just because like Zach Ertz will come back, so like even if McBride takes a majority of the snaps, McBride probably won't be as good.
Sure, but then Waller hopefully is back, and Waller's looking great before injury. It's just fun. It's just funny how it played out like that because I've all year I've been very proponent of like I don't like having a lot of players on the same team.
But let me get 4 of them from the same team.
Let me get 4 Cardinals. But you're right. You absolutely said on it. They're all depth. Like they're all if in case of emergency the whole team goes down. I guess I'm playing the Cardinals offense. I guess that's where we are. And then what's your outlook on Javonte the rest of the season?
Well, he did. I'm looking at the wrong one. I'm looking at Jaleel. Javonte. I mean, his snap share is increasing, which is good. I mean, it's probably going to keep going up. Probably. I think it'll be fine. I mean, I wasn't like, I saw the snap share going, but I'm like, it's kind of like I'm not in on the Broncos in general.
Sure.
So yeah. I was like, okay. So I'm like, but like, kind of a depth piece because like James Cook and Derrick Henry are probably the starting running backs. So who cares?
Definitely depth. I love his playoff matchups too. I like New England, Los Angeles. I'm not expecting to play the first round of playoffs, so I'm really looking at 16-17. And I think, and this is the big reason why I finally put myself in one because I didn't have myself there last week. I played a guy this week, should take care of business there. Play Noah, which should be a tough matchup, except for Noah's missing the Eagles. And I don't think JJ is back yet.
So I don't think you have to worry about. I think you're a shoo-in for a bye. Like I can't imagine a scenario that.
I played Josh at full strength. That'll be very difficult. So let's say I take a loss there. I would be 8-3. Week 12, I smashed Santos. Week 13, I played Bryn. And Bryn is down Josh Jacobs, DJ Moore, TJ Hawkinson, the Buffs defense. So I smashed him.
So that would put you at 9 wins?
That would be, at that point, I'd be 10-3.
I mean, if you get to 9 wins, to like history shows, you generally make
the first round bye.
You get a first round bye.
Yeah, and then I have Kestner to close the year. So my remaining schedule is fantastic. So I've really been building for playoffs, and we talked about the Browns playoff matchups earlier. Browns defense. Anyone take a look at that? Chicago, Houston, the Jets. But it's all been playoff matchups. The Cardinals all have really good matchups in the playoffs. As much as I have 4 of them and I don't want to play them all, but Murray's going to get Chicago, Philadelphia, who is a pass. You can pass on them. It's like I've finally been able to like do what I've talked about and like actually craft a team for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully it comes together, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited. And Mike Evans is my wide receiver 3 is nuts. It's crazy.
Now it
Remind
just
me,
needs to stay healthy.
yeah, everyone please, Jamar Chase Hill, please. Don't pull a Cooper Cup on me last year. Don't pull a Breece Hall on me. Okay?
Long way to go.
Of course. I'm gonna sweat the rest of the year. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens. Justin, it feels good. When the whole league said you had a 0% chance to make playoffs.
Oh, that's not true. One computer program said that you had a 0% chance of winning.
I'm gonna pound that table the rest of the year, Justin. The chip on my shoulder's never been bigger.
You keep pounding that lie. Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep going.
I will. I love it because the reaction I get out of you and Noah. Noah goes like, "It said if you didn't manage."
I'm sure it said that I had 0% chance of winning.
And here you are.
Yeah, here I am.
And you and I, not Santos, I don't know what happened to him, but you and I are we are a like poster child of draft capital is a joke.
I didn't have a second and third rounder. You didn't have a first.
I didn't have a first rounder. And here we are with ballin' teams. Come on. Who needs it?
Yeah, come on, guy.
My second rounder's for sale. Offer me something. I'm selling draft capital. That's what I'm doing. I'm selling draft capital. I don't need it. All right.
I'm selling keepers. You have a keeper.
You take one. Dude, that was one of the selling points on Tua. I was like, Tua was a 14th round pick, Ken. Like, he was like, oh, really? Yes. Oh, man. That's the other thing. When you don't have high end draft capital, all of your players are good keepers. All of them.
That's true.
Evans is a great keeper. Marquise Brown is a good keeper. Like, they're all good keepers because they're drafted so late.
Yeah, that's why I like. Well, you guys. So like, Luke's making trades, and Luke's like, draft capital like is overrated. And Josh is like, or yeah, you said what did you say? Overrated or something?
I said
like
it was
that?
overrated. Yeah.
And then Josh was like, something about keepers or like the way. Yeah. And I just was like, championships are better than all those things. Like just go for it every year, guys. Come on.
Championships greater sign, draft capital, keeper capital.
I don't care how much draft capital, keeper capital you have. Do you have championships?
Yeah. Are you winning? This guy gets it, guys. That's why he's here as a ranker. All right.
That's why I have 3 of them because I go for it every year.
Dude,
I haven't. Yeah. I don't think I have. I've only sold once in my entire career, I think, and that's because nobody had done it, and I was like,
let's try it out.
Let's try it out. It didn't work, so I never did it again.
The only year I sold, I made the playoffs, dude. Oh man. But hey, Josh Kessner, next year for sure, buddy. Next year will be the year. All right. Let's get out of here. Hey, people, keep listening. Surprise for you, hopefully. I hope this works. Anyway, thank you, Justin. We will see you all later.
Peace.
Bye-bye. All right, here we are. Ooh,
it's groovy.
Your reception area is nice. You got a good taste, I gotta say.
Groovy.
Ooh.
I like it.
Groovy. Well, here we are. I promised bonus in the pod, and you're getting it. A little Tank Doctor special to back end this pod. Who cares about sleep? Not Josh when the trade deadline's on the line. Let's talk about it. Tank, we're here. We need prescriptions. We need to know the diagnosis. Who should be selling? Who should be buying? And there's only one person I trust. And it's you, Josh. So take it away, buddy. Let's who should be selling right now? Let's talk about some tanking situations.
Oh, okay. We're gonna start with who should be selling, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if there's anywhere where I'm like, they need to sell. I'd say, because my go-to answer would be Bryn, but he's the highest scoring team in the league and still putting up points. So I'm like, and he's in the playoff picture. He's 3-5.
He's 100% in the playoff picture. He's 100% in the playoff picture.
At this point, I'm like, his luck's got to turn around. I mean, hopefully not this week. But I'm like, we've been saying it's been like a week-on-week thing. We're like, yeah, Britain's team's about to hit the cliff and fall off. And every week, he just continues to put up like 100+ points. And it makes no sense. So I'm a little lost for words on this case because he's saying hope is lost. In my mind, I'm like, hope
maybe
is
that's
lost.
like the chip on his shoulder. Yeah.
But even I look at this team, obviously running backs, yikes. But then Prescott pops off. Pickens, I'm still high on. TJ Hawk, I think his stock is actually going to go through the roof because Josh Dobbs, they just traded for. And with Arizona, he targeted tight ends 33% of the time. So I'm like,
and he's got a good one in Hawkinson. That's a good tight end. Yeah.
D-Hop popped off with Will Levis under center. So it's like,
Dude, and Kyron's coming back.
And I'm literally at a loss for words with this team. This team is defying all sense of fantasy football logic. So I'm like, at this point, part of me just I'm not gonna lie. There's a very small part of me that wants to see Bryn pull this back and just win it all, because it would just be absolutely hilarious. But other than that, I'm like, Santos literally cannot sell anymore. Guy literally cannot sell anymore. Everyone else is in the playoff hunt with no super flawed teams. So I'm like, I think we're good. I think there's no more tanking that needs to be had for first time ever.
This is a shocker. The tank doctor at the trade deadline saying, "Don't tank. Don't tank. He's going to be out of a job. You're putting the man out of a job. The league is too good."
I'm impressed with us. I'm really impressed. It's just too even this year, with the exception of Santos and Guy, RIP. But
yeah. Well, before we transition to maybe proving some in teams, let's talk about those teams who have tanks. So the tank has happened for them, and give us, like you said, they can't sell anymore. So go ahead and give us your grade. Tell us what you think about the job they did.
All right, so we had 2 tanking teams. I'm going to start off with Santos, and I'm looking at all of his trades. He had 4 trades. The first one was that 3-team trade, which wasn't really him tanking yet, although it was a soft throw in the towel, which he shipped off Josh Allen, Pacheco in an 11th rounder, got Goff, Miles Sanders, Devontae in a 9th rounder. Obviously, in hindsight, I'd say he came out on the losing end of that, but still not terrible because of what he managed to do with it afterwards. So that trade, not the best. But then he followed it up with, at the time, looked like a very, very good trade. Shipping off Aaron Jones and an 8th round pick for Tank Bigsby and a 4th round pick. Like, solid, especially since Aaron Jones was injured at the time, and Aaron Jones continues to be injured. So, in my book, that's a fleecing and a half. Luke, you can't fleece everybody. You can't fleece everybody. Sometimes you do get fleeced. So that
you got to shoot for the stars. He took me for a ride on that one.
Well done on that, Santos. Well done. And then his next trade, he shipped off Amari Cooper and a 10th and a 14th for Jameson Williams and a 7th and a 15th. I'm not going to say a fleecing, but I'd say Santos won that trade, even because it's basically two hot garbage receivers, and he gets a good draft pick in return. And then he acquires Devontae Smith from Justin to ship Devontae Smith back to Justin for a 6th round pick in exchange for a 15th. a 9-round pickup. And Devontae Smith has, he's been all right. But wait, didn't Justin trade him again?
Yes, Justin.
And Justin shipped him off again. So Santos, I gotta say, I would give Santos an A for this tank job. Well done, Santos. The first trade, I guess you could have. I would say the only thing knocking him from an A+ is Josh Allen could have fetched a way higher draft pick return. But the fact that he just compensated with everything else for seemingly peanuts, I'd say, job well done, Santos. Even when you're tanking, you do a good job of it, which is more I can say than some people.
Well, and I will say this: when we initially started talking about Santos, we brought up like, what can you sell? We were like, this team doesn't really have anything to sell. And then he lost Mike Williams, which would have been a piece to sell. It was like, oh god. And he's still, Santos as of right now is sitting with I just had it, and of course I clicked out of it. He's got an extra 4th, an extra 6th, an extra 7th, an extra 9th. Like, that's not bad. For not having like one of those big blue chip guys to go get a haul.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, I like it. I like it.
So basically,
2 and 6, not
in
going to change.
In my opinion, he essentially shipped Josh Allen off for all those picks. That's what essentially I view it as. Which, not bad. He made the best.
Josh Allen literally got him at the 6th and the 9th because he got Smith back and then sent Smith immediately back to the 6th. So it's like that's like direct correlation.
And like usually I'd be like, okay, like Josh Allen should get you a 1st or something like that. And in a vacuum, yeah, but considering everything, where like when he made the trade to trade away Josh Allen at the time, he wasn't fully like tanking at that point in time, if I remember correctly. So I'm not going to knock him for
absolutely.
that. And if there's someone I trust with like those mid-round picks, like I would say Santos is one of those managers that I trust with like mid-round picks. He's a great manager. He's pretty savvy. He's obviously sold the farm some years to go all out, and this year he accepted the farm. So
I don't know about the farm, but a little lentil patch. He's got a little extra boost. I don't know about the farm, but he's got a little extra juice in there, a little steroid shot.
It's a quarter-acre farm, but
yeah, it's a beet farm. It's a beet farm.
Pretty much.
All right, so that's the first team that sold. Let's talk about the other one.
All right, so the other one we had was Guy.
Hold on. And I'll tell you this: these are the bottom 2 teams in our rankings. Josh does not know the rankings, everyone. Josh is coming in cold. The Tank Doctor doesn't know the rankings, but he's correct. Santos and Guy are the bottom 2 teams. And go ahead.
All right, so Guy was the other team that tanked, and I think he got back a decent haul. With that being said, I still give him like, I was like thinking about it on my drive home, and I was like, I was torn between like a B- and a C+, because he came away with 2 first-round picks in this haul, which is great. But in my opinion, he should have come back with way, way more. So,
really?
Yeah. All right. So I'm looking. I have his trades pulled up right here, and I get it. Guy is not. Well, is he a serial tanker? Has he done this before?
Wait, I don't think he tanked before.
He technically has tanked before when he sold Dalvin Cook to Ken.
Oh yeah, for the 1-round 3rd to 4th.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe this shouldn't surprise me. Okay, this knocks the grade down to a C+ because he has tanked before. I was willing to grant him the benefit of the doubt. He's never tanked before. Maybe that explains why he didn't get as good a haul back as he should have. But just first trade, the big that kicked it all off. He trades Bijan to Kessner, which Kessner, well done, really good move. I applaud Kessner. This has nothing to do with Kessner. However, he shipped him off with an 11th round pick for Ramondre and a 7th round pick. Oh, brother. Okay. So, first off, I believe when Guy made this trade, he was like, he had a winning record, like 4-2 or 4-3
4
at
and
the
3.
time. 4-3. Bijan Robinson, I remember at the time, was RB12, so he's technically an RB1. I get it. He wasn't living up to the pedigree of what he was drafted and what we expected him to be and yada, yada, yada. But he's still an RB1, and those are very, very rare, with the athletic ability that is otherworldly to be exceptional if he didn't get Arthur Smith. Also at the time, I believe we were like 2 or 3 weeks out from the trade deadline, so he didn't have to sell him then.
2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks. And so I was just, personally, if I knew Bijan was available, I would have made an offer for him, especially if I knew that Kessner was bidding for him. I take it, Luke, you probably would have been in a similar boat. You would have at least explored
Yes.
the possibility of trading for him. So what
Oh,
I
100%
am, what I am absolutely mind blown at is the fact that there's a smart little feature called the trade block, which I know Guy is aware of. If I were him, I would have been like, putting him on the trade block. I'm in the playoff race, so I don't have to sell, but I kind of want to sell. You're not telling that to people, but you have so much leverage. And to sell him after Bijan puts up 0.9 points when he had a migraine is just not being smart with the leverage. You're selling low. In my opinion, Bijan should have gone for at least a third-round pick. Probably, I would say 3 for $7. Should have been the asking price if he were to go 2 weeks before the trade deadline.
With no RB coming back, right? Like if you're just straight buying, right? Because there is value in Stevenson. Not that it's great value, but there is some sort of value coming back in Stevenson.
Yeah, I mean,
or are you
I
saying even with Stevenson should have been 3-4 or 3-5?
I think Guy should have been pushing for it, and I think with Guy with having that much leverage, like if Guy shoots you a message out of the blue and says, "Hey, Luke, I'm thinking of selling. I know, even though I'm in the playoff race, I'm thinking about it. And Kessner's over here hitting me up for Bijan. Are you willing to make an offer?" And he's offering me this. You're telling me you wouldn't at least entertain and get involved
I would have beat
in
this
a bidding
offer.
war?
I would have beat this offer. I don't know how high I would have gone, but I definitely would have beat this one. But Kessner would have, I think Kessner would have upped his offer too. You know what I mean? I don't think I just would have won. And I'm sure you would have too. Like you would have moved more than a 7th to go get Bijan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would have moved more than a 7th. I think there's a lot of managers who would have, but I don't know if any managers knew he was available. So that's my thing. Like he had all the leverage in the world. He doesn't have to sell. That should immediately drive the price up in my book. And not leveraging other managers into bidding wars. I'm like, bro, that's the way you maximize your return. So that I'm like, that trade it should have been, in my opinion, if he got Ramondre back 3 for $5, probably could have pushed for 3 for $6 or 3 for $7 in my book, and been very well justified. And I feel like Kessner would have still felt good about giving up that type of compensation to get someone like Bijan. So that knocks the grade down immediately for me right there. His second trade was not nearly as bad. He traded away Jacoby Myers in the 12th and got back Josh Downs in the 10th. Me personally, I'm kind of high on Josh Downs, so minor drop off from Jacoby, I think, especially with the train wreck the Raiders have become. Yeah, obviously couldn't have known that at the time, but I thought that was not a bad offer. He probably wasn't someone who you and I would get in a bidding war with Kessler over, especially with my wide receiving core. I don't. It's hard. It would have been hard to add some leverage to maximize the offer. So I'd say that's a good return. Then okay, so the big one that I was face palming, and Kessner was probably face palming too when he saw this one go through. The Ja'Marr Chase deal. So
let's go.
At this point in time, after seeing him trade away Bijan and Jacoby Myers, I think the league all knew that, okay, he's tanking, which means Jamar's going to go at some point. So let's start thinking of a good offer, and then wham, this deal just goes through. So my knock against him is similar to his first trade. I don't get why he wasn't put on the trade block, because I have a great wide receiving core. I would have been I would have been bidding for Ja'Marr Chase. He's a guy that everyone who's in remote picture of contention would be throwing their hat in the ring to get in on. And so there's a couple of different things that I really think he should have done differently. First off, I would have waited until after week 8, personally, because the Bengals had been struggling as a whole for the first 5-6 weeks. So me personally, if I was going to trade for him, I'd be trying to leverage that to lowball him a little bit. I'm like, hey, he's not doing so well, knowing that the Bengals are struggling. If I'm him, I'm trying to wait to sell at the highest point possible. And he just came off a week where he put up 11 points against Seattle going into a bye week. And you have 2 weeks to wait. I'm like, let Joe Burrow get healthy. We know he's healthy. T. Higgins is injured, so he's going to get more targets and boost his value. Let me give him at least 1 or 2 more weeks to boost that up. A year after we saw Justin Jefferson go first round for a 7th round pick. That's what I would do. I would do the same thing I would have done with Bijan. Create a bidding war. You already know Kessner's pissed because you got Tyreek Hill. So obviously, if I'm not in Kessner's shoes, I'm not going to speak for Kessner. And Kessner, you can come out in the chat and tell me otherwise. But if I'm Kessner, if I see Ja'Marr Chase go on the trade block, I'm probably doing everything I can to secure him, and most importantly, make sure you don't get him. So if I'm Guy, I'm hitting up everybody. I'm hitting up me. I'm hitting up Justin. I'm hitting up Kessner. I'm hitting up you. And I'm creating that bidding war because you already have a little bit of that animosity that you can capitalize on. Like if Kessner's or if Luke's offering you something, then I'd go to Kessner like, hey, Kessner, Luke's offering this. You willing to top that, or else I'm going to ship him off to Luke? You can't tell me that wouldn't create more leverage and get a better offer. And so I think, in my opinion, Ja'Marr should have gone first for a 5th minimum. I could see first for a 6th. If he played his cards right, but first for a 3rd, great return. Not gonna knock it. Like a extra 1st round pick is nothing to sneeze at, but he should have walked away with more, in my opinion. And then the Herbert deal with Justin, getting an 11th and 13th for a 14th and 15th to the QB, I think 6 he was at the time. I get the market was probably thin. But you can get at least like a 5 for a 7. Like something like that. That's a perfectly reasonable return to get. I don't know why he didn't push back on that. Wasn't in the behind the scenes for that negotiation, so I do knock that a little bit. And then, obviously, the last trade for Javonte Williams with a bidding war, unbeknownst to us, a bidding war between myself and Luke. I offered a 6. I offered a 6 for an 8th. He reads the message. Next thing I see is that he accepts your trade, 5th for 7th. And he writes back. And he writes back after leaving me on red. Writes back, hey, sorry. As soon as you sent this, I got a better offer. And so obviously, a little salty about that. Can't deny that. But also, I'm like, you literally just admitted that you could have started a bidding war. Literally, if you had just held off on accepting and said, hey, I got an offer 5th for 7th. Can you top that? I would have absolutely topped that. You could have I was willing to go 5 for 9 as my highest offer. So that right there.
I don't know if they would have gone that far. Because I've already spent, I don't think I would have been able to match you. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly. So regardless, he would have been able to get a better return.
So let me ask you, what running back were you sending back? Because you had to be sending back, right?
I was sending back the Pittsburgh backfield.
The backfield. Sure.
For the Denver backfield, I was started off 6 for 8th. I was willing to negotiate 5 to 9 as my tops. If he dug in, because he started things off great in our dialogue. I asked, is Javonte available? Didn't read the message. I sent the trade offer. I was offering like a 9th for a 12th or something. And he was like, hey, selling's over for now. I'm not willing to accept like anything for less than a 6th round pick. And I was like, that's a great start. That's exactly what I would do if I was in his situation. Give the, like, don't need to sell, but if I am going to sell, you got to offer me something big. And then after that, it just didn't happen. So in my opinion,
this is so good.
I think Guy could have walked. Let me actually check his draft picks that he has now. So he has 2 firsts, his 2nd, out his 3rd, 2 5ths. In my opinion,
An extra 10th and an extra 10th.
I think he should have walked away with 2 firsts. I think he could have gotten 2 3rds and 2 5ths out his 6, 7, 9 if he had played his cards right. And that would have been an
Interesting.
that would have earned an A grade out of me. I think if he had played his cards right, he started bidding wars and leveraged everything. I think he could have gotten 2 1s, 2 3s, 2 5s, and keep his 2.
So let me give you the back half. I'll give you the back half of the 2 deals that I did with him. Obviously, I don't know what's going on with the Kestner or the Justin deals. Justin briefly talked about it in the pod earlier, and I talked about why I wanted Chase. So you guys who've made it this far, you know why. I won't talk about that. Josh, you'll have to listen to the pod. Sorry, buddy. So when I went into let's start with the Chase deal. As soon as I saw he was selling, I mentioned this. I knew I needed to have Chase. I mentioned why I needed him, and my tactic was I'm going to blow Guy out of the water, his expectations out of the water right off the bat, and don't even get him thinking about shopping. So I came in with a 1st round pick. It was my opening offer was I will give you a 1st for Chase. Literally, that's all I said was I will send a 1st round pick to you for Chase. I didn't talk about what was coming back. I didn't talk about what else was coming. I literally said I will give a 1st round pick for Chase. And he was like, that sounds great. that is what I would want to do with Ja'Marr Chase. And then we haggled a deal. And while haggling, he wanted a receiver back. I didn't really want to, hurt my depth. And as I was trading for Chase, Jacob sends me an offer, Kirk, for Chuba Hubbard. As I'm in the middle of negotiations. Jacob, I didn't work for that deal at all.
Oh my god.
And we talked about it on the pod. I think it was a great pickup for Jacob because he needed a running back too. Hubbard seems he's locked up that position. It's going to be good for him. And he had a wide receiver depth, so it made a lot of sense for Jacob. But I'm literally texting Guy. The trade comes through, and I go, hold on, I have a receiver coming back for you. Tweak the deal for Jacob, lock it up, flip Kirk right back into the deal for Guy, and send it off, and the deal's done. And so that was part of the negotiation strategy was I didn't want Guy to think maybe I can get bigger because there's nowhere to go up from a number 1. If I come in with a number 2, he might be thinking maybe I can get a 1 from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I would absolutely spend a 1 for Chase. So let's get it on my terms. Let's get it in paper and let's finish the deal before anyone could think about it. So like you said, you were sitting there figuring out what you wanted to offer. I was like, we're going in, we're pushing the chips. I'm locking this guy up, and I've already shared why. That's that half. And then, dude, the Javonte deal is even funnier. Okay, I wish we could match send receipts. I sent him almost an identical to what you sent him the first time around. Almost identical. I think I was a 9. You said 9 for 12. I think mine was 9 for 11. Because I have this weird, I'm collecting 11th round picks. I have 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm collecting 11th round picks, but I am. So I wanted a 9 for 11th. And he sent me an identical message that he sent you that was like, don't really want to sell unless I'm getting a 6th. I'm at practice. I coach tackle football. At practice, I'm doing scout cards. So we're doing scout offense, or scout defense, or offense, running our offense, and I'm holding scout cards to the defense. Like I'm literally showing them the play. I'm showing them the play, tucking it away, getting out of the way, texting Guy. Like, boom, text, show play, 2 text, show. And I literally send back, I'll send 6 for 8. Bang. Which is the exact same thing you sent him. And he sent back, and I didn't have a running back tagged. He said, I already have an offer on the table with a 6 for an 8th and a running back. And I immediately send back, I'll send Jones, don't even care. I literally said, don't even care, you can have Jones. And he said, I don't know. And I said, fine, take a 5th for 7th. Like, if you don't, I don't know what running back is coming back. I don't know who I'm betting against, but I said fine, take a 5th or 7th. I'm like literally doing one of these like show player running back, like really. And he goes, all right, I think you got a deal. And then we worked out the finesse or the finals with McLaughlin coming over. And so then I got to talk to Guy for like 20 minutes yesterday on the phone. He's doing very well. He just had the second birth of his granddaughter or his grandson. Second grandchild. It's a boy, Michael. Yay, Jim! That happened yesterday. And he said, Luke, I think it's disingenuous to pit people against one another. So I'm not that kind of person. So you had come to me first. I'd gotten the other offer, and so I didn't. He said I didn't even intentionally mean to pit you against Josh, but because you were first, I'm telling you, I must have been like 10 or 15 minutes ahead of you, Josh. Like not long, because it happened like bang, 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 and because you were the first and you matched what I want, I'm done. I'm done doing the whole flip back and forth. That's what he said, and that's how he wanted to deal it. And so I'm happy it happened. I told Justin this after the pod because I wanted to see your reaction. Because that's hilarious. Like, we said the exact same thing at like the exact same time. Like boom, 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 boom. It was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, Guy,
Well,
thank you.
To Guy
I appreciate you. Made my team better.
Those types of morals, because I tell you what, I'll also give a little bit. I'll give a little bit of a peek. Well, this is something that no one knows yet, but I was sitting at 0-3. I got texts from 3 different managers about some of my players that I'd be willing to sell. They were hitting me up about AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, Breece Hall, and Olave. And so obviously at 0-3, I'm like, I was still believing in my team. I was like, that's fine. Okay. They were like, are you willing to sell? I was like, not yet. And they're like, if you do, please do not trade him without texting me. I was like, you got it. And I've already got like 4 buyers lined up. So in my mind, I'm already like piecing together like hypothetical offers I could get for each one. And then one of them texts me, he's like, hey, I think I go to 0-4. And then I get a text, and the text goes, hey, so would a 2 for 6 get it done for AJ Brown? And I looked at that, I'm like, not a bad offer, but we saw JJ go 1 for 7. AJ Brown is
just as good.
Amazing. He's that guy. And so I was like, nah, I've got 4 other managers that are interested, so likely not. And he was like, does that mean no? I was like, not nearly enough. And basically I was setting the groundwork for like if I had gone 0-5, I was gonna sell. And it would have been immediate post to trade block. And I would have started a bidding war between 4 people. Basically, I was like,
at least. I mean, I would have been at least trying. I'm not. So I wasn't one of those 4. I never hit you up about buying, and I would 100% would have hit you up if AJ Brown went to the trade block.
I would have put him to the trade block, and I would have been texting probably 5 or 6 different people. And my thing is, I would have been taking my sweet time. I would have been waiting till like week 8 to deal him because my thing is like if I go to 0-5, say I get to 3-5, then I have even more leverage. So then I could be like, maybe I'll make a playoff push. You know, like
yeah, you got to really sell me. Yeah. You really got to take me off my feet.
What I was aiming for, I was like, basically, I was like, if I go 0-5, I'm gonna sell Hurts and AJ Brown because obviously QB2. I was like, I can get a first for Hurts. Everyone's going to be in on Hurts. I can get a first for AJ Brown. So my goal was walk away with 3 first-round picks and ship off like a 4th and a 7th. And
hopefully.
And I would have stood pat after that and then gunned for the consolation championship because my team would have still been good enough.
Yeah, to compete. Yeah.
But that's just yeah. I'm like, in my mind, if you're tanking.
Well, it's interesting, you know, how different managers make it. You know, not knowing the other half, that was always fun. You know, I didn't know who. You know, Josh and I obviously talked before the pod about this, finding out it was us 2 because he figured out it was me when I made the deal, and then he said, he sent me like, oh, so it was you, and I was like, oh, so it was you. Just so funny. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I am of the opinion, Josh, I don't care about draft capital. I've decided I think this is the best team I've managed, and I didn't have a first rounder this year. So who needs them? I get them out. I don't want them. I don't need them. But it's interesting because I am not alone on that opinion, maybe, but not everyone thinks that way, and so we get to see the moves as they go.
It's
Speaking of,
interesting because for every case that you have for this year, then you also have the flip side with Santos, who also didn't have a first round pick, and then his team went the opposite direction.
He gone. Yeah, he gone.
But I mean, I've been saying it. Well, one thing I will say, I'm also a little out on like draft capital as a whole. I'm higher on keeper capital. Like, to be honest, looking at setups for next year, I wouldn't take either Santos or Guy's setup. I would take Noah's setup. I would take him over both of theirs in a heartbeat.
Garrett Wilson and Achane?
Yeah, Achane in the 12th and Garrett Wilson like the 9th, I think. So it's like, because my thing is, you can get extra picks, like especially like extra second or first round picks with every Travis Kelce in the first round. You get Najee Harris in the second round. But with keepers, you have known commodities. Or Ramondre Stevenson in the second round. But with keepers, you know what they're going to put up. And if you have them at a good value, it's essentially like you're getting an extra first or second round pick because you're getting that production, but from the 12th round slot. So I don't know. That's the way I look at it because there's not as much variation.
Well, Doctor. So you're planning on keeping Olave again. I'm assuming 6th rounder should be value.
We'll see.
Maybe, maybe not. But is there like?
We'll talk later. I'll tell you what.
I know my plan. Okay.
I've got.
I know my plan.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No,
I've got a gnarly plan cooking up.
Oh, okay.
I've got a gnarly plan cooking up. I'll tell you after.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I know for me, I'm in on Kyler Murray for next year. I think that's going to be great value at 13th round. And then I have a couple receivers that are going to be mid-rounders like Evans and I don't know exactly where they fall, but Evans and Brown, I'm okay with keeping in the mid-rounds. And that's just going to that's my plan. I'm going to get a lot of value off them. Maybe even Javonte in the 3rd. Then I do have an extra 3rd rounder. I'm just saying. So
I didn't take that into consideration when he traded away Javonte.
To be fair, I didn't even think about it until you told me. You were like, "Yo, Javonte could be a good keeper too in the 3rd." I was like, "I didn't even think of that. That's fantastic news."
That was one of the big things I was looking at. That's why I was going to go 5 for 9. I was like, I could keep him in the 3rd round if I really wanted
to. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how teams play out. I know like Kessner can keep the same 2 guys. I think still at value. I think it'll be a 4th and a 6th or something. I don't know. I'll have to look at it, but there's a lot of teams that have some good keepers. So speaking of teams, though, real quick, who should be buying, do you think? And if so, would you be overbuying? Like, would you be overspending to try to really get your team where you think it needs to be? Because I don't think there's a perfect team out there. Everyone needs something. And so is there a team or a couple teams maybe you think should try to leverage against other playoff contending rosters to put them over the top?
So the teams that should be looking to buy obviously are probably Justin because he's all in on trying to get the 3-peat. Obviously I was looking to buy. I think Kessner low key might want to look for another just depth piece. Just because in terms of firepower, I think yours is slightly edging his. But the thing is, I don't know who's left to buy.
So, yeah, who is? I think right now, if you're gonna buy, you have to overspend on a team that's competing. Like you have to overpay for a player that you think will make your team roster, and it will cost you depth. I don't think capital is gonna get it done. I think now it's depth.
Yeah, you have to have depth plus keeper probably.
Yeah, right. And so, I agree with you. I don't know if there's many to be had. I'm sure we're going to see a couple deals between now and Monday, just the nature of the beast. I know today's was like the Adams we talked about in the pod, but I know you and I had the same reaction of, Okay.
I literally I was like,
Sure.
that's interesting. I don't know what to think about it.
Yeah. So I think there will be a couple more of those that I don't think there's going to be like a clear like, oh, this guy's buying or this guy's selling. It'll be like teams maybe reshuffling to players that they prefer. I think some of that will happen. I know that, players on other teams' rosters look better than the guys that are underperforming on yours, even if they have kind of the same value. But yeah, I think you're right. I think the market's like dead. Like,
Yep.
the selling teams have sold. There's nothing left, and we're in it now. It's waiver wire, play the right lineup, trust your bench territory. And it's wild, man. Can you believe 8 weeks already gone? Already finished.
Yeah, it's crazy. And see how many teams are like in the thick of it.
10 teams competing, actively competing. That's awesome for the league, but insanity.
I am rooting for a
It's
lot
crazy.
of teams this week. I am rooting for a lot of
Oh
other
yeah,
fantasy
let's
teams
hear
this
it.
week.
Who's that?
Whoever I'm rooting for whoever's playing another member of my division.
So you're rooting for Santos. No, he's not even in your. Hold on, wait a second. You're
I'm rooting
Mark,
for Ken.
Jacob, and Noah.
I'm rooting for
Yeah.
Ken, Sam, and Justin. I think Justin's playing Noah. I might be wrong. I'm not looking at it right now. Whoever's playing Noah, I'm rooting for them.
It's Kessner.
Oh, I'm rooting for Kessner. Kessner, I'm a huge fan of yours this week. Now would be a good time for you to have a ceiling week after you had a dud week against me.
Yeah, pop off, King. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I do. The second seed is there for the taking. I think that that there's a bye to be had, and your team definitely can get it if you just win out, or do it. Mostly winning out.
I would love that. This week, low key, this week might be like one of my most pivotal ones, and one I'm most kind of nervous about because it is Brid. You can never underestimate his team. And I've got my Niners on bye, so I'm like, oh man, please not this week.
Oh, you have to play Najee, dude. I can't wait for Bryn to score 130 and lose.
I'm for it, but because I catch a huge break next week because I play Santos when the Dolphins and the Eagles are on bye.
I mean, you're already gonna beat Santos though. Like, well, you're saying when your team is, you're like, yeah, you're light, but you won't need it. That's hilarious. That's so good. Oh, you are so lucky. Jeez.
Yeah, and then I play you with Olave on bye. That's gonna be.
I think I'm at full strength.
Yeah, you are.
I am. That's gonna be a good one. I'm looking forward to that. That could be a playoff like teaser. Like we could find each other again. Yeah. That'll be a good one. Yeah, dude. And then we talked about you playing Mark, and he's got
everyone on bye.
The whole team's on bye. All right, let's get out of here, dude. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for swinging by. You heard it here. If good job or not good job, I don't know. Players are, selling, buying. Good luck. Trade deadline's Monday, and on to week 9. All right, people. See ya.
Peace.